Hello and welcome to Computer Tech and More. Today we're going to be taking a look at the UniFan SL120 version 2. This is part of my redone series where I redid all of my noise testing analysis, giving you the latest and greatest in fan testing data. Let's get right into it. Alright, first up is CPU cooler testing, noise normalized. We have the UniFan SL120 version 2. It was ranked 16th, it is now ranked 30th, so an overall huge drop in position. At 100% PWM fan signaling through the CPU air cooler, the SL120 was ranked 16th. It retains that position. The cooler value proposition, the SL120, was ranked 30th. It is now ranked 41st. Cooler value proposition at 100% PWM fan signaling, it was ranked 38th. It retains that position. CFM testing, noise normalized, it was ranked 12th, and it's now ranked 31st. So a huge drop in positioning right there. At 100% PWM fan signaling, it was ranked 22nd, and it retains that position. CFM value proposition, noise normalized, it was ranked 29th. It is now ranked 40th, so a big drop in position. At 100% PWM fan signaling, value proposition, it retains position at 40th. Case simulation test, 6-inch mark, noise normalized, it was ranked 15th. It is now ranked 24th, so a loss in position right there. The 11-inch mark, noise normalized, it was ranked 40th. It is now ranked 45th, way towards the bottom. The 6-inch mark, value proposition, it was ranked 31st. It is now ranked 40th. The 11-inch mark, noise normalized, value proposition, it was ranked 42nd. It is now ranked 45th. Now let's get into the specific graphs. All right, so the first up is the case simulation test. And yes, I know these trend lines are a bit off the other lines. It's just that I chose the equation I chose doesn't quite line it up, and I didn't really want to spend the time to find the exact one. But the point was to show how the fan drops in airspeed over distance. So there are two major ways to take a look at the data gathered from the case simulation test. The first one is what size case do you actually plan on buying? And the second is scientific for how good is this fan at creating a good concentrated airflow. So first let's talk about how it did at different data points. So I took data points at 6, 9, 11, and 14.5 inch marks. So this is the rough estimated location of where the CPU air cooler would be placed on the motherboard inside a varying size cases. So the 6-inch mark is representative of a small form factor case that is still a front to back airflow style. So basically just a miniaturized standard ATX case, except it uses ITX motherboards. So it still uses a tower cooler and stuff like that, front to back airflow. It is also representative of a short throw distance. So if you put fans in the bottom of your case to blow air into your GPU, it would be representative of that mark, or in an inverted case, the top blowing into your GPU. The 9-inch mark is representative of a compact tower. But if you think of it just a short, potentially hold maybe up to an ATX, but most likely an ATX and ITX motherboards, but still a front to back airflow. The 11-inch mark is representative of your standard mid-tower cases, and the 14.5-inch mark is representative of large cases. Something like the Fractal Design Torrent is representative by that 14.5-inch mark. But let's take a closer look at it. So this teal line is my control fan. It is based 3 parts A12X25 to 1 part Noctua A14. 2 fans that I consider very good in the respective categories. 140mm class fans tend to do better at the 11 and 14.5-inch mark, while smaller 120mm class fans tend to do a little bit better at the 6 and 9-inch marks. So created this blended fan, gives me like almost like a 130mm class fan. So it's just trying to create something that gives me a reasonable middle of the roads to compare 120s and 140s all on one testing apparatus, so that it gives a baseline point for what we want, what I personally want a fan to perform better than. So I have on this graph the UniFan SL120 and the SL120 V2. It's pretty clear that the SL120 V2 in noise normalized results is pretty terrible in this test. How about at 100% PWM fan signaling? Well, it's there. It drops off heavily, then it kind of levels out or maybe gains a little bit of airspeed and then drops off again. So I did retest this and it came consistent every time. So I don't know why, because you would think that then there wouldn't be a second drop off, but hey, there is. So it's just a weird result going on there. The Infinity, on the other hand, actually looks reasonable up to the 11-inch mark, but then drops off pretty hard compared to my control fan. How does it compare against other fans? So this isn't every fan I've tested. It is just a small subsample selection of what I consider to be very good, and then good, still good, and then bad fans. So the bottom end of what I consider to be a bad fan is like the NFS12B, and it's well at the bottom. So again, what size case are you purchasing? So at 100%, or actually no, this is noise normalized. The UniFan SL120 is bad. How about at 100% compared to the other ones? It's still bad. Let's take a look at airspeed versus decibel range. And the 9-inch Marsh was chosen because fans tend to drop off there, and case and point, a huge drop off, and my anemometer becomes less consistent at getting good readings at under 0.5 meters per second, which is why I would like to upgrade it. And I need help from viewers, well, from you, my viewers and supporters, in order to get myself to that next level. So the UniFan SL120 V2 basically is a flat line for an ever increasing noise volume. So overall, not a great fan for case airflow. On to the testing for airspeed, going to my CPU air cooler, the Noctua U12A. On the left side, we have RPM versus airspeed. This is basically a blade efficiency. It is how good is this blade design at pushing air through the heatsink. Nothing more, nothing less. On the right side, we have noise versus airspeed. This is a noise efficiency. How quiet is this fan at pushing air, or how quiet is this fan at pushing air through the heatsink at what air speed? So this one, on both these graphs, better fans are going to be sitting top left, worse fans are going to be sitting bottom right. And we have my control fan here in blue. And the yellow line is the UniFan SL120 V2. And at lower RPMs, it's actually underperforming compared to my control fan. But as RPM increases, it becomes significantly more efficient at blowing air. However, once we take a look at the noise graphs, it is significant, well, not significantly, but fair bit noisier compared to my control fan. And remember, every 10 decibels is a doubling in noise volume. So even if they look relatively close, remember that like a 5 decibel jump is not double, but 1.5 times louder. So that's a pretty significant amount. But how does it compare against other fans? My personal opinion is I like to run my fans as fast as possible for a noise level I can tolerate, so that there is more thermal overhead in the CPU air cooler or the radiator or whatever before they need to ramp up again, so that it'll handle spike loads easier without needing the fans to go woo, woo, woo to handle the bursts. That is just my personal opinion on the matter. But the UniFan SL120 V2 is ranked right here, moving around 1 meter per second of air, putting it a little bit higher than the AF120 Elite, the Squama, but it's significantly lower than many other less expensive fans. How about at 100% PWM fan signaling? So we got the wattages over here on the side again, but the UniFan SL120 V2 is actually ranked here better. It does defeat the SL Infinity, but it is still a far cry from the best. But it is outperforming the A12X25, but albeit at more than double the noise volume. So 19.6 decibels versus 32.4. That is a significantly noisier fan. So just buyer beware. Now, how do these fans compare against other fans in cooler air speed versus decibel rating? Well, the SL120 V2 is right here, sitting right towards the bottom, but it starts to climb, looking okay, and then flat lines. So clearly, between 90 and 100% PWM fan signaling, the fan just gets terrible in terms of its overall noise efficiency. I can't say for certain why, if it's in the blade design or in the motor design, but it just flatlines, basically, and flatlines hard. We're going to take a quick look at the RGB on the UniFan SL120 version 2. So it's got the RGB I'm going to call it sort of more like a ring around the outside of it. And the RGB lighting is on both sides, which is very good. I'm actually very happy about that. The one downside kind of with this fan is you basically get this basic hub with the lighting ring around it. So personally, I've liked the Squama in terms of the lighting ring the best. But this one is thicker, so you get more light, you get more illumination with it. But it's up to you if you prefer having a lit fan blade, you like a lit ring, you like both, you like everything, you like nothing. I care most about performance. So there's that. Next up, we're in the CFM testing. CFM testing is a scientific type test. I'm not particularly fond of it for testing case airflow. So now that I finished ranting and raving about how other channels aren't aerospace engineers and don't understand fan testing for real, how does it do? Well, they line up perfectly with my control fan. So it's like case and point. They line up perfectly with my control fan, which they shouldn't because of my previous test in the case simulation test. Just saying. Now, noise testing is a little bit different. So once you add noise into noise as a factor, a fan can't overcome its noisiness in this test. You're only going to see the similarities in a blade efficiency type thing. So the UniFan Infinity actually beats my control fan slightly in a lot of it until you get to higher RPMs and airspeeds, while the SL120 V2 is sitting underneath. But how do they look compared to other fans? Well, the UniFan SL120 is kind of towards the bottom. It's not looking very good overall. Mine is not at the bottom, but it's just overall not that great. The Infinity, on the other hand, is looking fantastic. At 100% PWM fan signaling, the SL120 is still shifted towards the bottom, while the Infinity is kind of smack dab in the middle. It's just a hair behind the A12X25, but at significantly higher noise levels. So again, you need to keep in mind what is most important to you when picking out computer components. CFM, airspeed versus decibel rating. The Infinity is sitting smack dab in the middle of my good fans. So that's really what these fans are. They're all what I consider to be good fans. I didn't include any poor performing fans on this graph. While the UniFan SL120 isn't the worst performing fan, but it is sitting towards the bottom of the graph, and especially at higher RPMs and airspeeds, it's sitting really quite badly. Let's take a look at or jump. All right, so how much does this fan cost? Well, the SL120 V2 is a $30 fan. The SL Infinity is a $35 fan, and this is standard retail pricing as near as I could find it off Amazon. So that's how all the fans are related to one another, is with their standard retail pricing. So on all the graphs, the right side or left side is always going to be noise normalized. The right side is always going to be 100% PWM fan signaling, and value proposition is just real simple math. It's airspeed, or CFM, divided by money, the amount of dollars, US dollars it costs. And this graph, what do we see? Noise normalized. The SL is terrible. How about at 100%? Still bad. At the 11-inch mark, I did not finish noise normalized values for the SL120 V2, and at 100% PWM fan signaling, it's right towards the bottom, but it's better than the worst. Good job, Corsair. How about through the CPU air cooler, noise normalized? Right at the bottom, not looking good. How about at 100%? Still pretty low. CFM? Nope. So where does this leave me with these fans? I know that I went through this very quickly. Basically, you're buying the UniFans because they're pretty. And in my opinion, if you're going to be getting the pretty one, you might as well get the Infinity. I think it's better looking. But that is my opinion on the matter. I think that the SL120 V2 is way overpriced for the performance you're getting, especially considering that its RGB isn't the prettiest on the market. Now, if it's your particular style, that's perfectly okay. It's perfectly valid. It had some good performance characteristics in certain testing, but no, you're basically paying a pretty tax on it. For much better performance, the A12X25 costs around the same amount of, no, or close to the same amount of money, but it's significantly better in performance, actually raising its value proposition. Mind, it's still not high on that value chart. So if you do want RGB, but you want a better value fan, you actually want to probably get the Arctic P12 ARGB or something similar to that. But I can only present the data. It's up to you to make your own decision on the matter. And yeah, let's move on to my wrap-up section. All right, and at the end of every video, I do like to show my raw data. This data does belong to me. However, if you're going to use it for your own purposes, meaning you're going to just write down the data and make your own graphs and charts for your own personal use, you are more than welcome to do so. However, if you're going to put it in any sort of video, publication, or journal, I do ask that you reference me and my channel. I'm the one who generated this data. And again, it does belong to me. It takes me around 1.5 to 2 hours to collect this level of detail. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, I do want to add more testing in the future. So add radiator testing, upgrade my CFM testing, add a second version of CFM testing that I think will be pretty cool. But again, all this is in the future if I can get the support to actually implement all of it, because buying fans has been very expensive. I've spent around $1,000 on fans so far. So in order to keep this going, I do need help from viewers like you to help me out. Hitting that subscribe button will go a long way if you enjoyed the video and want to get the best fan data on YouTube from an actual mechanical engineer who specialized in computational fluid dynamics or fluid. So I do have a background in this, so it is a fundamental interest of mine. Anyways, I'm not trying to like be cocky, it's just a fact. Anyways, I do thank you all for watching my video. I hope to see you again here on this channel on Computer Tech and More, and I hope you have a great night or great day.